Na guroradikam, na guroradikam, na guroradikam, na guroradikam. So this shloka explains, by the order of Shiva, there is no one above the Guru. एक के साथ हो तो सब फ्री है. Basically saying that if you are with the divine master, you are always free. It is so beautiful to learn these shlokas and then sing on Gurudev's birthday.
Sorry. I'm sorry. So this is the beautiful video we just saw is the prelude to the Guru Gita, which is a chanting program with Dhanuma. And it's a beautiful conversation between Shiva and Parvati, where Shiva is describing the nature of the Guru Tattva to Parvati. And today we have Kashiji to describe the nature of our Guru to us. We'll talk about the Unreasonable Guru. He needs no introduction. I'm sure all of us know that he's an IITian and the director of Shri Shri School of Yoga. But to me, he's a reminder that, don't take life seriously. You can enjoy your chocolate cake and your chai without guilt, and you can still be an amazing yogi. Over to you, Kashi ji. We'd like to hear from you. What makes our Guru unreasonable? Yeah. Yes.
Okay, namaste everyone. Jai Gurudev. And good to see so many familiar faces. And of course, for all those who are watching on Facebook or Instagram, I can still virtually feel your presence rather than see your face. So when I was told that the topic of today's session is the unreasonable Guru, first reaction was, my God, there's no reason behind that. Why am I being made to talk on such a topic? But then when I realized that actually, if the Guru was within reason, then he's no longer a Guru. It's the Guru that helps us to transcend the intellect also. Like, for example, right now you're hearing the sound of some dogs barking. There's no reason for it to be there. And when we start looking for reasons, then we get caught up in the reasons. And it's the Guru that frees us from the reasons. The Guru Gita is an amazing text which talks about this wonderful conversation. I won't tell you between whom and whom. Bhanudidi will definitely lead us through that. But what is the point of today's session? It is to showcase what my Guru means to me. Now, please feel free to put in your comments, and if you have some questions or any pointers throughout the whole session. So let's start by what do we mean by the unreasonable Guru? I still remember spending so much time with Gurudev over the years. It's been 27 years. I looked back and saw that 27 years I've spent with my master, And I really feel so, so lucky to be able to do such a thing. Now, in all these years, there have been so many instances where uh, the logical mind. I did my college in IIT Powai. I did a master's in chemical engineering, and I was always what I considered myself to be a logical thinker. I needed to see the reason before I did something. कुछ भी करने से पहले ऐसे लगता था कि यार पहले जान ले क्यों कर रहे हैं फिर ही तो करेंगे. And unless I was convinced, I would never walk into something. And my first experience of Gurudev was in my first Sudarshan Kriya. Now, it was the first time I was experiencing the Sudarshan Kriya. The breathing was on, and I suddenly felt, oh my God, someone's. I felt excruciating pain and all kinds of emotions. And I wondered, what did I sign myself up for? Yaar, kahan fas gaye? Kahan aa gaye? And my teacher had told me, don't open your eyes for any reason whatsoever. Kuch bhi ho jaye, aankhein mat kholna. And so I was wondering, why are they doing this to me? Why am I going through so much pain? What is all this happening? At that time, I didn't realize that this was just a way for all that stresses that I had collected for all of it to get released. But when it finally became too much, I opened one eye and I saw, hey, there's this figure in white standing there. And I was shocked. And I closed my eyes once again. And later on, I saw, well, that was what Gurudev was. What I had seen in my Sudarshan Kriya was an image of Gurudev, a vision of Gurudev. For someone who has uh, worshipped logic all his or her life, to be able to transcend logic can get quite overwhelming. And for me, after the whole process, I woke up and felt like a new me. And I realized that there are so many things in this world that my reason cannot reach to. And that was the start of my journey in art of living. Now, over a period of time, uh, I I managed to reach the ashram and stay in the ashram as an ashramite, as a person who would stay there and do seva. And there were so many times when Gurudev, when he was in the ashram, every day there would be satsang. Every evening, people would meet and they would be singing, there would be knowledge. Every Monday, there would be a Rudra Puja. It still is. Every Monday it happens. And so one Monday, Gurudev was walking up to the Rudra Puja, or he was walking back from the Rudra Puja. And there was this one small girl, young girl, and she was standing there, and she had a garland of tulsi leaves in her hand, and she offered the garland to Gurudev, and Gurudev very lovingly picked it up. And this whole matter, this whole incident, it would have just not registered in my memory. So many people offered so many garlands, so much flowers to Gurudev. And uh, things went on, the whole day passed. And in the evening, I happened to be the lucky one to be along with Gurudev as he went to the satsang, and I was standing there right next to him. And I saw this whole family with this little girl, and the parents were crying, and they were there, and they just saw Gurudev, and they were so grateful. And the mother said, Gurudev, my child was not able to see all these years. And very lovingly, she put together this garland saying, I want to give this garland to Gurudev. And she made the garland with her own hands. And when she came and, well, she offered the garland to Gurudev. And that same day, her eyesight returned. Now, it might seem so fantastic, and I would never have believed it hadn't it happened in front of my eyes. So for me, it was such a eye-opening experience in a literal sense. And I realized that in this world, there are so many things that transcend reason, that go beyond our logical mind. And accessing that is what the Guru helps us to do, isn't it? Isn't it true that so many of us have had such amazing experiences in life, something that our logical mind is never able to explain? And for me, that is what is the ability of a Guru. Once someone came to Gurudev and asked, Gurudev, uh, if everything is according to the law of karma, then mm, isn't life like a machine? Whatever you have done earlier just keeps going on, and it leads to consequences, and those consequences leads to more actions, and so on. Gurudev smiled and said, but the Guru has the veto power. And that is what I've experienced in my life. So many times it feels as if that uh, that something major would have happened, but the Guru just carried us through and allowed us to um, move through life so effortlessly. So for me, my Guru is my safety net, that which helps when things become unreasonable, then the Guru becomes unreasonable in a way that transcends reason. And for me, that is the most amazing thing about Gurudev. I can see there are some questions that are coming in. How is the Guru Gita different from the Bhagavad Gita? So, uh, Samhita, maybe you can also monitor the Facebook and the Instagram. If there's something coming there in the comment section, then I can take a couple of questions from there too.
Sure. I remember this one time you had shared a story about your TTP application and how you thought it was a very unreasonable thing. Would you like to share that?
Sure, Samhita. So, this is a very interesting story, at the same time, a very insightful story. When I had just done my participated in my happiness program, I loved it so much. I went on to do the silence course, the advanced course. And by the time I realized that this was so wonderful, I wanted to teach it. I wanted to become a teacher of the art of living. So promptly I applied. Now, I was a college student in those days, so I had classes to attend. In those days, the teacher's training was 30 days. It was a whole month. And so uh, it just happened that our winter break at IIT coincided with the dates of the TTC. And when some things like this happen, when some things coincidental like this happen, you tend to transcend your reason and you say, well, this TTC has just been announced for me. ये तो मेरे लिए ही बनाया है. And so I applied and I landed up at the ashram. And that year, Gurudev picked one form out of the whole lot and said, this form, this person, not eligible for teacher's training. And guess whose form that was? Yours truly. And so I was completely broken. It felt, Arey baapre, if other people look at me and say I'm useless, that's normal. But if my Guru says that, my God, where would I go? So I was miserable. And Gurudev said, well, sit on the advanced course. So I sat on the advanced course, got over, and then, of course, I had come all the way to the ashram. But in those days, there were very few people in the ashram. So you would stay in the ashram only if you had some work to do or if you're part of the seva team. I was none of the above. So then at the end of the course, we all went to meet Gurudev. Gurudev met all of us and he asked everyone, okay, what's your plan, and so on. And when he came to me, he asked, okay, what's your plan? What are you doing? I said, nothing, Gurudev. I'm going back with this whole group that's going to Bombay. So then Gurudev asked, what will you do there? And so I said, there's nothing. It's winter break for us. There was a seminar that I was supposed to write and present, which was supposed to happen after the winter break ended. So I really had nothing much to do during the winter break. So Gurudev said, okay, then if you have no work, then why don't you help Philip with the drip irrigation? And I was so happy. Here I got a chance to stay in the ashram. So my seva was, I would help Philip with the drip irrigation. So I would take a walk in the morning, about a half an hour, and look at all the drips and see if they were dripping. And so that was all that I had to do in the whole day. And so the rest of the day, well, there was nothing else to do. So I went to Gurudev's kutir. In those days, you could just hang out and just be around. There was no secretary, no security. Those would always be open. Just like it is today, the doors to the ashram are always open. And so I was sitting there with Gurudev, and when it's time for the session, Gurudev would tell the teachers training teacher and the students, everyone, okay, it's time up, now go for your class. And so all of us, all of them would move towards the class, and I would happily close the door behind them and stay with Gurudev. And I realized, oh my God, not being selected for the teachers training was such a nice thing, because I got to spend more time with Gurudev. And so I felt even more lucky. Well, 1 month of time with Gurudev, it was amazing. It was so amazing to see all those small details of how he would interact with people, all those things that he would do, all the public meeting, it was amazing. Well, time passed. I went back, finished my course, came back to the ashram, stayed for a few years. And then I said, okay, now I'm ready for the teacher's training. So the next day, the teacher's training was about to start. And obviously, since I was already doing a lot of seva in the ashram, I had to check with Gurudev before sitting for the teacher's training. So I was about to ask Gurudev when another person, he's a senior teacher today, he asked Gurudev, Gurudev, can I sit for the TTC starting tomorrow? And Gurudev smiled and said, Arey, Kashi bhi to nahi baith raha hai, tumhe kyun baithna hai? Kashi is also not sitting for the course. Why do you want to sit for the course? So that was the second time I realized that it was not yet time. Then in 2008, finally Gurudev said, well, now it's time for me to sit for the teacher's training. And that's how I did my teacher's training. The thing I realized was that because I was not a teacher, I got to stay much more in the ashram, much more with Gurudev. And that was such an amazing learning experience for me. And so when I look back at my life, a lot of times it seems that things could get unreasonable, but in hindsight, it looks as if that was the perfect thing that could have happened to me. And so ever since then, I realized that there's a master plan, and being part of the master plan might look unreasonable. But if you look at it in the bigger picture, it looks perfectly reasonable. Just like maybe your Google Maps says take a right turn, and you say, well, the best road to go is go straight. But then Google knows that there's a traffic jam in front, and so the fastest route is probably not the closest route. And that's how I look at life, that my guru is there and he knows the fastest route to the ultimate goal, whereas I might be looking at the closest route, which might not be the fastest at all. And that's for me the unreasonable guru.
Kashiji, many people have this question. They want to know, why should we learn the Guru Gita? How would chanting it help us?
Yeah, every mantra, every chant, there is a saying in Shastra, it says, Yatinam yata chittanam vacham arthanudhavate. Yatinam, those who have achieved the ultimate, yata chittanam, that which comes from their chitta, vacham arthanudhavate. The words that come from the chitta of those who have reached the goal, they lead you to the goal. The meaning runs behind the words, which means that when by merely chanting, by merely listening to the words, we're able to gain the experience of the words. And that's for me what's so beautiful about all these ancient chants, that in the process of chanting, something gets kindled within, something wonderful happens, and something blossoms within each one of us. The consciousness is very ancient. We are all many of us have had this experience. You listen to some Sanskrit chanting, it seems as if your mind can chant it, just your lips can't. So this consciousness, which is very ancient, has experienced chanting so many times. And that's why the heart, the mind, the soul resonates with all these chants. And that's why learning all these chants makes a huge difference to the way we experience ourselves. The Guru Gita is an amazing set of shlokas which really help us to unravel what the Guru means to us in our life. And for any sadhak, this is such an amazing insight into the Guru Shishya relationship. What does my Guru mean to me? What is the role that the Guru plays in my life? What is it that I can get out of this amazingly lucky phenomenon called the Guru? And that's what the Guru Gita really talks about. For me, Bhanu Devi, who's herself a scholar in Sanskrit in many ways, both scholastically, she actually studied Sanskrit. And the very fact, for me, the biggest, much more than all of that, is the fact that she has spent so much time with Gurudev, that the meaning of all these shlokas blossoms so beautifully in Bhanuma's words. And really, when the epitome of bhakti is talking about the Guru Gita, that's something that's really unmissable. And so I'm going to be there for the Guru Gita. I've registered for the sessions, and it's so beautiful that we can make this journey along with Bhanuma. And so I would really say, if you have the time, or even if you don't have the time, it's a great idea to make some time and take this wonderful journey of the Guru Gita. Yeah. My mother is asking, those who cannot chant, what about them? Of course, you might think you cannot chant, but there are so many things that we think we cannot do. And that is what our reason tells us. That the Guru helps us to transcend it. And that's why the Guru is unreasonable. Because the Guru helps to demolish the walls of logic that we have built around us. As children, it was very easy for us to transcend logic. The Chanda Mama hua karte the. Even objects would have life, and trees could be red in color. The fish could fly in the sky. So many things. Every cloud had a shape and a reason and a personality as kids for us. So somewhere that innocence which allows us, I'm not saying rejecting or negating reason, but transcending reason. And that's something very, very different. So for me, whether you're able to chant it or whether you're not able to chant it, whether you're just coming for the insights into the Bhagavad-Gita, or whether you're just there for this whole journey, I feel that's a great reason for us all to be there. And this is something I've seen so many times. I've seen Bhanuma teaching the Guru Puja courses, and people from all walks of life, every part of the world, people who can't chant for nuts have chanted so amazingly. And for me, that's something that Bhanuma really brings to her teaching, that she is effortlessly able to convey the skill of chanting so beautifully. Yeah. So I guess that more or less covers all the questions, right, Samita?
Yes, Kashikar. Thank you so much for the very reasonable discourse on the unreasonable Guru.
Are you saying that I'm a reasonable shishya of an unreasonable Guru?
I mean, if you would like to think so, yeah. We'll just show the video, Guru Gita video. There's a lot of fun in store. Bhanuma will share a lot of Guru stories, and along with, the deeper meanings of the chants, you can just get a little glimpse of what's in store for you.
न गुरोरधिकम न गुरोरधिकम न गुरोरधिकम न गुरोरधिकम. So this shloka explains, by the order of Shiva, there is no one above the Guru. एक के साथ हो तो सब फ्री है. Basically saying that if you are with the divine master, you are always free. It is so beautiful to learn these shlokas and then sing on Gurudev's birthday.
We have the link to sign up in the chat box. You can all check it out. You will also receive complimentary copies of An Intimate Note to the Sincere Seeker and Gurudev on the Plateau of the Peak. So make sure you put in your correct address. Thank you so much, Kashi ji. It was a pleasure listening to all your stories. I have to unmute.
Thank you so much, Samita. As you know, I enjoy talking, and give me an audience and I'm unstoppable. So thank you all for listening so patiently. But what Samita said about Bhanudedi and the Guru stories, I think I would join just for that. And it's always such a pleasure to, I always call Bhanuma with one name which comes in the Lalita Sahasranam, Padmanabha Sahodari, which means that who is born from the same womb as the Lord. So for me, it's so special to be able to take any session with Ma, and looking forward to doing this. So thank you so much for watching. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you everyone for coming. For everyone who is having issues registering, I'm leaving our number in the chat box. You can get in touch with us here.